Hello and welcome to the 22nd episode of She Codes by Perfect. This is Samhati Goswami, Project Lead at Perfect. And today we have with us an excellent women engineer, Rishupreet Kaur. Rishupreet is currently working as the engineering manager at Here Technologies. She started with her career as an IT consultant with Logica, working for a support and development analysis project for insurance and risk management, and then gradually moved to working with companies like AOL, Skykeeper, JP Morgan, and has many other learning experiences. Rishupreet is a sincere professional with valuable technical knowledge and team management talent. With some excellent interpersonal skills, professional competence, please welcome very intelligent and diligent Rishupreet Kaur on She Codes. Hi Rishupreet, how are you?
Hi Sanati, good. How are you?
I'm fine. Yeah.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. We feel really glad to have you on the platform of She Codes. So Rishupreet, tell us about your interests and what are the things that you're passionate about.
So, if I say software engineering is my passion, then I would not feel fully authentic. So I was kind of actually thinking about this today morning that what is passion really? Why am I here? Why am I in this industry? So I realized that it's really, it's the way it makes me think, how it keeps me focused on solving complex business problems, breaking down things into components and abstract concepts. And it is also exciting because of the way it makes you apply the things that you have learned over the years. Software engineering is a lot of applying. It's at its core, it's like the core principle of abstraction. So you design an application or a system, all the brainstorming that comes with it, all the optimization efforts that make you really think. That is really my passion. It's just the way it makes me think. And my passion is also into learning new things. So the industry that I'm in, there's always this lingering feeling that there's something more that you're required to learn, or there's something new that has come up that you have to build curiosity on. A new way of designing software architecture that you've not done before. For example, these days, we are working in projects which are based on like the CQRS design pattern, and we are working on projects which are being executed at a very large scale with several teams involved. So all those coordination and kind of building a system that all the sub parts of it continue to work together. It's kind of amazing. So that nature of software engineering that is forever changing, and it keeps me on my toes, is something that I enjoy. So that's really where the passion lies. Other thing that I feel is that it's also very impactful. So sometimes you realize that you took a small effort and it lead to a huge impact. Now this can be in terms of whether you're working on an application which you ended up increasing, like improving its performance or reducing its cost, or just it can be something as simple as like a user experience thing. So in my career I've worked both on customer facing applications, web applications, microservices, complex systems which involve all those things, and they just make you think more. And because of the impact and the immediate feedback is something that I really enjoy, and that keeps me going. It's also very rewarding because there are several times when you're stuck with a difficult problem, either you or you're sitting and brainstorming with your team and having kind of extreme programming sessions trying to write up a algorithm, and then you have some eureka moments, and you people, it's very easy, like when people use your work and share feedback and say that okay, you did something that was very beneficial for our project, these kind of experiences are very enriching. So this is what has kept me going, and this is really where my passion lies.
Well, Rishupreet, I must say that you have really well put a lot of about things that you're passionate about. And when you say that you're passionate about solving business problems, that linking the entire concept of software engineering with abstract concepts. That's really enriching to know. And keeping a note of the fact that the industry is, the technology industry is gradually growing with a very rapid speed. So as a professional, one needs to keep learning new things, which is great to know about you, that you focus on it so much. So okay. So my next question to you would be that we would be really grateful if you share about your professional journey and your valuable learnings related to it.
Sure. So I started working in, way back in 2006. I'll kind of just run you through it. And so I might be primitive for some people, but, the first 2 years of my work life, I would say I was not very fortunate in terms of the work that I was taking up or getting. But it's just something that kind of I kept pushing myself and kept going. I started off working in Logica for the first 2 years, as a fresh college grad. And then after that, things started to turn around when I joined America Online. So 3 years into that company, I went on to join as an associate developer in JP Morgan, and I worked for almost 2 years there before I moved to Here Technologies. So at Here Technologies, I have spent 3 years in Chicago and 3 years here in Mumbai. So it's been kind of one of the best experiences. I worked on several projects, like customer-facing projects which were kind of middleware and systems that operate behind the scenes to kind of help to build a final product. So that's really been my journey. And here I joined as an engineer in 2014, and today I'm working as an engineering manager and leading 2 teams. It's been a great journey in terms of starting off as a developer in tech and slowly getting into people management as well, while still keeping an eye on things that are changing and while still keeping an eye on tech. So it's really that tech leadership that I'm pursuing right now and continuing to learn. In terms of challenges, I would think that every stage in my career has brought its own set of challenges. So when I started off, there were not many role models around. There was this huge gender gap that is there in tech industry. It is still there, but they are improving a lot now. I think these days it's the best time to be in tech for women, because you have so much support coming in. You have so many communities out there. You have so many conferences that promote women leadership as well as women in tech. So you really have that community support, which was not there long back. And so one would think, why would you need that kind of support, or how does it matter? But really, representation is something that really helps you. It's very important. It's in the beginning, long time, in way back in almost 10 years back. So there was this, there weren't many, women developers that you would find. And I think even today I'm sure there are many women who can relate to this, that you would, the percentage is still less. So it's easy to face, groupism or kind of mild sexism. But all these things can be easily handled. Over the years, what I learned, especially, very early in my career, is that you find your place and politely call it out when you experience such scenarios where you get sidelined. It's all very unconscious bias. No one is intentionally doing it. So you have to believe that people are more often having good intentions, and you start from that belief. In the beginning of my career, I also didn't ask for a lot of help for the fear of being judged. So there was also no community of peers that I was a part of who could reach out for help or could contribute to these discussions. So a lot of it had to do with that imposter syndrome, which women are really prone to, and especially in tech, you have lingering feeling that maybe I'm not good enough, when there is enough evidence on the contrary. But the trick is that you have to understand that it's a journey, and in this journey there will be times you'll see that there are things that you're good at and there are things that you're not good at. So it's really building upon your strengths, and there will always be something that you know, and there will always be something that you don't know. So you really have to kind of understand that what you're good at, build on your strengths, but also hone know what the weaknesses are and kind of work towards them. I've worked with some great leaders in my career, and one of these things, all these leaders had in common was that they placed a great deal of trust in their people. So you have to give people that sense of ownership and trust to be able to kind of get the results that you expect. So I've experienced that myself in the beginning of my journey, and now when I work, as a leader in tech, I ensure that that kind of trust I place in my team, and let them have that sense of ownership to kind of help them grow as well. Yeah.
Yes, Rishuprit, it's really great to know about the professional journey. And the moment you say that you are kind of primitive to this industry, but to be really honest, the way you have missed a role model in your time, in a similar way, the millennials or the people who are new to this industry, they need somebody who is so much experienced. So, calling yourself as a primitive professional in the industry, I think you should call yourself to be a mentor for the newcomers, isn't it? Because you have so many diverse and valuable learnings, and most importantly, you have the experience of working with different geographical regions, right? And when you talk about the challenges, like it's obvious and it's very visible that being a woman in technology industry, it's really the entire journey is filled with challenges, and obviously because of the ratio, and it's really great to know when you talk in terms of being leadership and giving sense of ownership to the team and team members. That's really commendable. Okay, so that's really great to know. So my next question to you would be, would you like to share with us anything regarding the skills or the professional competencies that one need to develop during this pandemic situation? Because we have seen that everything. Every sector has shifted to the technology industry, right? And people are working remotely. Not only in terms of professional competencies, but also professionals should develop some sort of interpersonal skills, some sort of professional behavior. So, what is your take on that?
So during this time, I've observed that people have kind of really built upon their skills. Like, it totally depends on what your areas of interest are. I've seen people taking up trainings that are kind of totally unrelated to your work as well. I've seen people taking up trainings in like machine learning or just understanding more about design patterns or distributed systems. So that's something that kind of really eventually helps in doing your job better as well, and just preparing yourself for the worst, basically. So as a developer, like this can again be kind of divided into different kinds of people who are at different stages in their career. So as a developer, like, use this time, I would say, to kind of have a zoomed out view. Like, one thing that I really liked in the beginning of my career was like just understanding the big picture. Now, when you get lost, as a developer working on your task, you sometimes miss out on that. But now, if there is some extra time at your hand, try to understand the big picture of the piece that you're working on or the code that you're writing and how it is helping the whole system. So this especially applies to when you're working on a complex system and you're working on a very focused problem or an algorithm, but you kind of have that zoomed out outlook and understand more, read more. There is every company has like plenty of papers written on concepts. So read more and learn more on that, so that you get that view, understand more about business as well. That's one thing that we as developers miss, and as we get busy on things that we work on. So understand more about business and how your component that you're working on really help business. Other thing, at developer, as developers, like, get better at doing test-driven development. This is something that I insist a lot to my team also. The more I have realized its benefits over the period of time. There are believers and there are people who are not believers, but eventually you end up, when you use it, you really understand its benefits and see how design evolves from it. And then in this pandemic time, I would say this is also a good opportunity to see that okay, if your current team or your current project is not really kind of building you up anymore, or you're realizing that you need some change because things become very boring, sitting at home and working. And if you've been working on the same thing for quite some time, it's a good opportunity to kind of move around, like know about several other teams in your company, learn about projects and what skills are being used. And if it's even if it's not related to your skill, like just put yourself out there, apply for it and keep your manager in the loop, and say, I want, let him or her know that I want to do something new. And so that's also kind of a good opportunity to do something during this pandemic time. And then there can be a couple of things that I can say for tech leadership also during this time. It's not easy in this remote setup, so take up trainings to understand how to manage remotely. And like they say, for people, like manage your manager, that kind of really applies during the remote setup. So as a manager, you need to be transparent, you need to kind of quickly touch base with your teams and keep them updated, and also know what they're working on. So it's not very easy, but there are several tools that are helping people do that. There are several tools that are helping people have brainstorming sessions and design meetings. In office, it's very easy, you just get into a room, you have whiteboard and you use it to kind of explain things to your team or understand what they're working on. So that kind of becomes a challenge. But during this time, this remote setup especially, you would have many instances as a tech leader to switch context multiple times, get interrupted. But you cannot kind of make people feel bad for interrupting you or changing context often. And then cannot stress this enough, as a leader, written communication during this time is so important. You have to be very crisp and clear. You have to speak business language, and you have to stay up to date. And all this really contributes to you being able to manage better. And it's kind of fuzzy right now how things are, but in general, I would definitely recommend people to kind of stay updated and take up trainings that keep you busy, and also have a goal in mind, especially those courses which kind of have certifications at the end. Those are okay, and pay for it. It really helps to kind of push yourself and complete a training that you started on.
You have covered a lot of points on that note, and that's really very well said. And coming from such an experienced professional like you, that's I think that will really motivate and help our audience who will be watching this interview for sure. Okay, and keeping a note of what you have said, obviously people, most of the professionals have been, trying to practice more the points you have, covered until now about coping up with the pandemic culture, right? So, but we have seen that there are so many layoffs, keeping a note of this pandemic, right? So, people have lost, many of the people have lost so many jobs, and they are really finding it hard to, survive in this situation. So what would you like to comment on that, regarding how to cope with that, with such situation where people are having no job, and to get back on the track?
There's no easy answer really. I think it's if you are in a situation like that, it's kind of really helpful to kind of reach out to people who can help. You'll have friends you'll have, if you have a mentor, great. But you have to put yourself out there, make use of all these kind of online platforms that you have, and apply for roles that you see. Consider it to be a good time to even, if you have been thinking to, kind of change your skills or enhance your skills, and then kind of apply for new roles or positions. That also helps. And all the kind of, if you are out of a job, you have some free time at your hand also. So use it to your benefit, like I said, take up trainings and stay updated. Prepare for your interviews well. LinkedIn is a great medium to actually reach out to people, to friends, and kind of put yourself out there that, hey, I'm looking for a job, and let people know that you are available also. And Yeah, I mean, it's there's no easy answer really, but I would say, like, trainings, keep yourself updated with kind of multiple trainings, and learn new things. Practice taking interviews. If you have friends who can kind of do mock interviews with you, practice that. There are also some online tech companies who help doing this. A lot of interviewing these days is a lot of system design, to coding, to testing, DevOps related. All these, I mean, there are great resources available on the internet, and there are great mock interviews also available. So make use of that. And if you can take some real mock interviews with some of your friends, or even people who kind of volunteer to do these kind of things to help out, find that also. That is kind of a huge boost to your interview process. Yeah, that's what I can suggest. I think keep trying and don't lose hope. If you are good and you're working on your skills, you will definitely find something good, and you'll get past this time as well.
Yes, completely agree with you on the fact that given the situation which people have no control over, right? So upskilling, constructing views of the key times that we have, and preparing for mock test are some of the very good suggestions that you have made. So that's really great. Lastly, Rishipreet, I would like you to send out a message to the women engineers community out there, so that they can get a push forward for their professional development.
Sure. I think one of my biggest message, and this is again, it comes from some of my learnings, is as women, we kind of put ourselves down and say no to opportunities sometimes, just thinking that, okay, maybe I don't have time to do this. If you are a mom, then you would kind of think twice taking something new, or changing something about your current role. But I've realized this over a period of time, that you have to start by saying yes. That's like the first step to doing something new. Say yes to opportunities. And my second biggest advice is, I was talking about how there are no role models, there were no role models, but today you have that opportunity to find mentors. So, but how would you find mentors? So you have to find a network, and there are many networks available today. There is Grace Hopper. So I recently also was a part of the Grace Hopper 20. I attended that virtually. Last year I was there in person. That's just one example. There are several, tech communities, women who code, women in tech. So be a part of them. And you never know, you may find a mentor. And when you find a mentor, you have to kind of sustain that relationship. You cannot just get mentored once or twice and then forget about it. You have to diligently follow up, and you have to diligently maintain that relationship, have your monthly sync ups, and learn from them. And in the process, even the mentors end up learning a lot. It's both ways. It's never, don't feel guilty about being the one who would be asking for a lot of advice and thinking that what is in it for my mentor, because I'm the only one learning. That's not how it works. It is a both way relationship. And I cannot stress enough on this. If you can find a good mentor, it kind of just changes things around you. So find a mentor, and just sustain that relationship, and continue to learn from it. It's going to be a huge plus for your journey.
Well, I think, Rishipreet, that's a very insightful message covering the importance of networking and finding a mentor, and maintain the importance of maintaining the relationship with mentor is of the utmost importance for women engineers. Not only just for women engineers, I think it can be applied to to all sort of professionals out there, right? So yeah, that's really nice interacting with you, Rishipreet. We are really glad that you have come on She Codes and be a part of it.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. Hi viewers, if you liked our interview with Rishipreet Kaur, then please like and share this video, subscribe to Puppet, and keep supporting She Codes. Thank you.